So let's please welcome Zipporah Gitahi.
Basically, first things first is the idea. What is your product? From there, have you given your product a name? You need an audience, you need a market, because otherwise you have a product that won't be purchased by anyone.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lioness Forever, where we celebrate womanhood and godly living. And today we've been having startup conversations. We have shared quite a bit with my guest Zipporah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you have not yet subscribed, first of all, hit the like button, then subscribe. And then the next thing you can do, share, because this is a time where it's really important to start that biashara and to grow up the corporate ladder within that organization of your desire. So let's get on to the next question, Z. Now, I'd like to ask, just to give us a bit of context in your own life experience, when can you say you started, or when can you say you got your first job?
Right after high school, I met my first ever boss in a trench coat shop.
Wow.
She had a lot of banter with the guys around, found it interesting, so I chatted her up a bit, and I was traveling to Nakuru that day actually.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving, and I met her again in a restaurant, and she was actually working on her business. Then we started talking, and I told her I'm studying interior design. Okay, I'm about to, but right now I'm doing accounting, What about you? She said, oh, I'm doing my business. Would you like to, I don't know, intern with me? And that's how I got my first job.
Wow.
Any moment can be the right moment if you take it up.
Okay.
I saw an opportunity to talk to someone. I had no idea who she would become, but I just talked to her. I had no intention of looking for a job. I was just talking, and somehow that opened up an idea. Oh wow, I could hire this lady.
So when we're looking at now getting into these organizations that we desire to work in, how do we approach either the bosses or the HR, or how do we make the application based on the experience that you've had in your own life?
Well, one, you may want to work somewhere and may not end up there.
Yeah.
It's one thing that was a lesson I was given by my sister and my mother, because I studied interior design, not working in that field. You could also end up exactly where you want, but it's about alignment. There's a thing I think different speakers talk about being prepared. You prepare before the opportunity arises. So if it's about pitching why you're the best person for a certain show, or the best person to be a PA, or something like that, you need to research on that particular place you want to go to work for.
Yeah.
If it's, let's say if it's a TV show, where do they do their recordings? Conveniently be around. Find out who are the top people. Go to LinkedIn or whatever. Find out who's the person who makes the decisions, the key decisions, or who's under that person. Befriend them, not in a bad way, but sometimes it's just about alignment. Align yourself in certain ways. Do your research on where you want to end up. Is that something I genuinely want to do? I wanted to be an architect. Once I really understood what goes into being an architect, I realized I didn't want it.
Okay.
What I really wanted was to finish spaces, not work on the shelf. So then you want to be an interior architect or an interior designer, not necessarily an architect themselves. So sometimes doing your research, aligning yourself, like if you want to meet people in equity, hang around the bank, get to know the tellers, eventually get to know the operations manager, then you can just tell them, I'm looking for a job. There's an opportunity. But because you've opened the door of friendly conversations, it kind of makes the guards a bit lowered for you to have an open way in.
I'd like to ask you about a certain statement that's given frequently in the business space. We don't do things
like that here.
Especially when you're young, vibrant, you're like, oh my goodness, I want to get this ball rolling, and you're met with resistance. How do you take that positively?
I think it's about working smart, not working hard in that perspective. If you're in a already established business, you need to know the decision makers. However, that can create some politics. You may look like you're trying to be a boss's pet, or you're not really a team player, but because established businesses have so much politics. Either your manager or your supervisor could take your idea and make it theirs, or if it passes, it's their idea, but if it fails, it was yours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nonsense that goes around. So it's about working smart. If it's an idea that might help the IT department, you need to figure a way to weasel in, befriend whoever you need to befriend so you can make your pitch at the right time. If it's in different departments, if it's straight up to management, you also have to look at where you are. Because if you're a teller and you're trying to tell James Mwangi how to run equity, might not listen to you. Why your position to them does not say that you understand what you're saying. But if you're a manager in a different bank and you have observed theirs in comparison to yours, or whatever industry it is, they can listen to you. So you also have to look at where you are and the idea you're giving and where you're giving it to. You might need to bench it for a while and make the necessary paths to get to the right position to give it.
Okay. So I think working smart is really something important, because sometimes our inclination when you receive resistance, it's just like, hey, work harder. But that may not necessarily be the most prudent step to take. Yeah, so I really thank you for that.
Something to add, it's just, you'd find it interesting how some businesses are formed because of that clash. You find that your idea is genuinely a great idea, regardless of your position, and it will help the business move forward. The top leaders who are older than you don't listen to you.
Oh, yeah.
So because of that frustration and the passion, hence the why in entrepreneurship, you start a business catering to the ideas you have and the product you want to give or the service, and it works.
Yeah.
So some people have actually, that's how it happened. The clash brought forth a new business, a competitor business.
So I think it's very important just allowing people to say, you know what, instead of maybe staying at this desk for the next 3 to even 10 years, why don't I just step out? I might get burnt a bit, but I believe my idea can actually work, and now starting to work on it.
Yeah, and being brave is very important.
Yeah,
being
just brave.
Sometimes your obstacles are too many, not because your idea is bad, but because it's that good. People will try and shut you down intentionally. Then once you're down, they take it up.
Okay.
So you just have to ask yourself a lot of questions, have meetings with yourself to figure out, is this a path you really want to go on? Entrepreneurship is not as easy as people make it look like. The fancy cars come much later. It's not within the first year, the second or the third. It'll take some time.
Yeah. For some, it's taken even a decade or more.
Yeah. We just live in a very interesting age now. We have access to so much, so it shortens the timeline, but it also really is upon the head. At the end of the day, the direction and success of a business sometimes really just falls upon the leader and the leadership. The type of people you put in your board, the type of partners you have, the type of mentors and peers you have. It's just those people like, you'll be all the way to the end. But if you have people who can call you out when you're making bad decisions, who can speak about you in rooms you haven't entered in, you'll go far.
Okay, that's really awesome. Z, I'd love you to tell us about your consultancy, even as we close.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so I am basically a startup consultant. I've worked with a number of startups. I've observed some of the problems they encounter that inhibits their growth or progression past the infancy stage, which is basically the 3-year mark.
Yeah.
Most businesses don't go past 3 years. Some don't even go past 1 year because of different factors, but most is because of limitation to funding, networks, or just information. If you don't start right, you won't go right at the end of the day. So if you need someone to help with your business plans, your projections, strategy, business development, I'm your person. I work for and with established and newly established businesses. So it depends with that. And I am also a mental health activist, or advocate rather, so I am passionate about it. I talk about it, given a chance. I'm not really, I'm not a professional in that field, but I do my research and I like talking to professionals just to understand more about what I feel like I know, what I've observed, just so I can help the community and our generation come out alive and bigger and better and successful. The shmoney.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I am so excited. I have learned so much from you, Zippy.
Thank you so much.
And we will continue to share. Please, in case you have any comment, question, kindly drop it in the box below, dialogue box below, and I will get back to you probably on an IG live or another session I will organize with Zipporah. Otherwise, may you have a very blessed time and see you soon. Ciao.